you're talking about the Giants making significant investments along the offensive line and the defensive line over the past several years in the NFL draft, and they're not getting the return on the investment on that offensive line. Look at Andrew Thomas. He's a top 5 pick. You look at Evan Neal. He went 7th overall this year. That group has got to be a lot better if the Giants are going to get the best that Daniel Jones has to offer. Last night, he took 3 big shots, one from Mack Wilson, one from Jennings, and one from Josh Uche. That can't happen. You're looking for a clean operation in your first preseason game, and a part of that is keeping your quarterback upright.
Mike, that's a really good point by Chris, Dan. When you look at it, and you just look at that graphic right there in terms of quarterbacks and how they've been hit, and you look at the group that Daniel Jones is in. You just think about it. Lamar Jackson is a different type of quarterback. They run him a bunch. Josh Allen gets, they run him quite a bit. Carson Wentz has been known to hold on to the football for too long. The fact that Daniel Jones is even in this category, I think it should be something that's alarming for the Giants.
I would think so, no question about it. Mike, what was your takeaway from that game?
Saquon Barkley, his touches, not only just rushing, but receiving. We saw him convert that first down. If you look at the history of Brian Daboll as a play caller, he likes to get the running backs involved in the passing game. He looked quick, he looked explosive, and from a fantasy football standpoint, I think he's going to be really productive in the passing game. We're seeing this first down here. And to Tim's point, another way to keep Daniel Jones healthy, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, get it to Saquon Barkley in space.
That would be a way, but the problem is Saquon hasn't been able to keep himself healthy, right, during his short career so far. Jeremy, what are you hearing about him?
Yeah, he's a player that people around the league are watching very closely because execs remind me, like, this guy's supposed to be a superstar, and he's been hurt, and when he's on the field, he hasn't been particularly great. He bounces around. He should just hit holes. They feel like this is a huge showcase for him. They reminded, hey, look, he was in trade rumors not too long ago for a guy of his talent. Huge year, going into free agency next year, he could be a major player.
Yeah, number 2 overall pick in the draft back, 4 years ago. So there were high hopes for Saquon. Hasn't materialized. Not too late. He's in his final year of his contract. So is Daniel Jones. Big year for a lot of people over there in East Rutherford.
Should be concerning. I think we would be concerned, if it were, any other team, quite honestly, than New England. I think that New England gets the benefit of the doubt. The reality is that you can talk to any quarterback that's played and had success for a long duration in the National Football League. There's usually a rapport with the play caller. And so I'm not saying that you can't have it with more than one guy, but it has to be developed. And I think it's hard when you have 2 guys trying to do it at the same time, especially when both of those coaches don't have experience doing it. So, look, it doesn't mean it won't work, but I would say that it's unlikely to work, and I think that it's a challenge that Mac Jones will end up being faced with that, quite honestly, other quarterbacks don't have to deal with. So we talk all the time about, like, a quarterback who, has to learn a new offense because they fire the offensive coordinator, and then a new guy comes in, and then a new guy comes in. It's difficult to have success that way. You want to see the game the same way that the play caller sees the game. And when you have 2 different play callers, I don't know how you do that.
All right, but devil's advocate here. Like, the odds are pretty good, Mike T, that they will not have 2 different play callers once the games start to count, right? I mean, these are practice games. How does this actually work?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Bill Belichick has developed coaches for 20 years and personnel people. I was one of them. I saw him take Eric Mangini from the PR department to be a 3-time defensive coordinator of a Super Bowl team. And the way you do that is you give coaches opportunities in preseason games. By opening day, which is still a month away, this will all be worked out, but he's giving his coaches opportunities to be developed. This is the time, this is the place to do it. I understand Tim's point. Quarterbacks are sensitive if things aren't perfect. We get that. but with that said, this is training camp. This is preseason. They will be a well-oiled machine by opening day. Joe Judge will handle passing concepts. Matt Patricia will handle the run game, and it will all work out. But Bill Belichick, of all his greatness, one of the things he's very underrated is all the great coaches he's developed over the years.
Yeah, Canty, what are your thoughts here on what's going on in New England and or the sensitivity of quarterbacks in general?
I give Bill Belichick the benefit of the doubt, guys, because you're talking about a coach that's been a part of the National Football League since the 1970s. His career as a coach in the league has spanned 5 decades. This guy has more answers than anybody else in terms of what it takes to be a successful coach, what it takes to be a successful player. That's why I give him the benefit of the doubt. But the one thing that does strike me as odd is him not playing his starters in the preseason game 1. Like, that's not something that we're used to seeing. I remember once upon a time when the Patriots were consistently going to AFC championship games, Super Bowls. He had Tom Brady playing in the 4th preseason game, and Mike Tannenbaum will tell you, Tim Hasselbeck will tell you, you don't play anybody in the 4th preseason games. But Tom Brady was playing in the 4th preseason game. Belichick usually has his guys out there getting the reps. It's a little bit curious as to why he's taking a different approach with this training camp and with this team.
Jeremy, what are you hearing out of New England?
Yes, I've been checking in on this, and I was told from some people over there that, like, short term, there are going to be some growing pains because they're trying to streamline the offense. They're segueing from Josh McDaniels and his heavy influence on the language of the play calls and all that stuff to an entirely new process. There are different iterations of this Bill Belichick system over like 2 decades. So short term going to be a bit of an issue. Long term, they think it's going to actually be an easier offense to work with. But the thing is, when you talk to people league wide, they're kind of like, good luck, Mac Jones. Like, this is maybe not the best for a second-year quarterback.
Yeah, obviously it's something people are watching closely. We'll continue to watch it throughout the preseason. But that was not the only preseason football game last night.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.